Hey, it's another episode. Today we're doing our fractions assignment 2. Some good music here. Gonna let the beat drop. Let's math it up. All right, so you have our circle cam going on here. Obviously, I'm sharing my screen. We're gonna go through this together like we have in the past. We always want to make sure we start by putting our name on it. Pearce. All right. All joking aside, let's go. So the first one says, write related decimal and fraction in the boxes. I think I'll start with decimal because it says decimal, and I'm just going to zoom into box number 1. It says decimal, so I'm going to write the decimal first. We have 100 boxes here. So you know it'll be it'll be 100th that we're talking about, and it looks like there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and those rows are each 10, so that decimal is going to be 0.50. Well, you can just do 0.5. That's totally cool. The fraction is going to be, well, if you look at the box here, there's 100 pieces. So the total is 100. How much do we have? We have 50 that are filled. That is our decimal and fraction. Now, when we look at our next question here, we have, again, 100. We have 25 filled, I believe. Let's see, there's a whole row here, there's a whole row here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Yeah, so it has 25 filled, so this decimal will be 0.25. And I'm just going to redo that. 5. And my fraction, again, will be over 100 because there's 100 total parts. Sorry, I'm just noticing that my camera is over top of my, there we go, 100 total parts, and there's 25 of them. So obviously the bottom number is our total size, and the top number is our parts. So how many we have total, how many we have actually, the part. So let's go again and look at question C. Now this one, these are all 100 frames. So this one's going to be 0.20. You don't necessarily need to write the 0 in this particular example. You can just write 0 or 2 tenths. It would be 20/100ths, but 2 tenths, it's the same thing. Now, again, this is our 100 total and 20 that we have. All right, clipping along here. Let's do the next one. Number D, or letter D, problem D. This one is going to be similar solution. We're going to look at what we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts, 8 groups of 10. Each one of these rows has 10 in it, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. There's 8 rows, so we have 0.80, 80/100ths, or 8 tenths. If there's 10 rows and we have 8 of them, 8 tenths. If there's 100 total pieces and we have 80 of them there. 80 100ths. We're going to talk about simplifying this fraction later. Number E. Let's see. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 whole rows and one half row with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 75. So it's going to be 0.75. The music's like... Alright, just going to change the arrow. It's more chill. Okay, 0.75. This one, you actually do need this 5. You can't go 0.7. The 5 is important because there's 5 hundredths and 7 tenths, or 75 hundredths. So once again, 175, right? This is our whole. 100 is our whole. 75 is our part. Last question. Ooh, interesting. It's a little bit different here. So we have 2 rows of 5, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's 2 of them. So that's going to be a total of 10. 0.10. 10 hundredths. But as a fraction, 10 over 100. This is 10. Sorry, I'm just like in your way here. Oh, I can't get out of your way. I need to switch to my side cam. So as a fraction, it's going to be 10 100ths. 10 over 100. Okay, this next chunk of questions is we're going to be looking at this type of question again, all of these types of questions, and finding some relationships. So it says compare equivalent fractions, right? Equivalent, this equivalent word means the same. So just like I was talking about up here, 8 tenths and 80 hundredths, they're actually the same. They're equivalent. So we're going to go through these, and they go pretty quickly here. Just change my soundtrack. I feel like these beats are too much. All right. So we have 0.2, and this is equal to 2 tenths. And it's asking us, it's 2 tenths. What would that be in hundredths? And really what we're going to do here is multiply, like what did we do to multiply the bottom here? We're looking at this specifically. What did we do to get from 10 to 100? We multiplied it times 10. So we're going to do the same up here. We're going to multiply times 10. This is how you find equivalent fractions, is you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So if you multiply the numerator by 10, you got to multiply the denominator by 10 and vice versa. So that's going to make 20. 10 times 2 is 20. So 2 tenths is the same as 20 100ths. And of course you do the same here. This 2 would be multiplied by 10 times 10. And we'd write that here. 20. And they give you spaces to that. I guess it should technically be 0.20, but for this example, we're not doing that. Question B. So some different ones to fill in the blanks here. So I see it's 3 tenths. So once again, multiply by 10 and multiply the 3 by 10, and it's going to give us 30/100ths, which is 0.30, and 0.3 on this side. So there's this relationship between a tenth and between 3/10ths and 30/100ths. 3/10ths and 30/100ths. They're equivalent. It's important to know moving forward here. So we got 7/10ths, which is going to be times 10 times 10. It's going to equal 70/100ths. This is going to be 0.7. Question D. We have 5/10ths, which will be 50/100ths, or 50 on your decimal, 0.50, 0.5 on this side. Question number E. 60/100ths. And this one, moving backwards, this one you could think of as dividing by 10 to go the opposite direction. You can divide the tops and the bottoms by the same number, or you can multiply the tops and the bottom by the same number. Either way, the fraction is going to be equivalent. It'll be the same. It'll just be less pieces, less the whole and the part will both be made up of less pieces, but you'll have the same amount of whatever it is. So this will be 6 and 6 there. Decimal 6.6, 60/100ths is going to be 60. There it is. All right. Okay, so moving on to the next one. All right. 90/100ths. So once again, to move from there to there, we need to divide by 10. From that side to that side, we need to divide by 10, which is going to be 9/10ths, or 0.9. And to finish off our blank spaces, this one's going to be 90 there. This one is the same. Oh, we're going back this way. So if I'm going to convert this way, I have to multiply by 10 and multiply 10 to turn it into 100. So this is going to be 10.1 on this side. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. So we're going to have the same thing. We're going to multiply times 10 times 10 to find our equivalent fraction. 80/100ths. Oops, that's 88. 80/100ths. And on this side we have 0.8. So our last one over here for this section. Now, question I. 0.4. Okay, so it's the starts with here 0.4. 4/10ths. So that means it's going to be 4. We're going to multiply by 10 on each side to turn it into its equivalent fraction, 40/100ths. 40/100ths. Okay. Convert decimals into fractions. So it's important that we know our place value here. So let's go and look at question A. And A says 7/10ths. So when we want to convert this, we got to realize that this is 7/10. You can think of it as whenever you have a decimal and you want to convert it into a fraction, you want to count how many place values and write one place value further than that. So if it's a 1 place value behind the decimal, we're going to write 10 underneath it. If it were 2 place values behind the decimal, we would write 3 numbers under it for hundredths, 70 hundredths. Something we'll practice more in class, of course. 3 tenths. This is going to be 3 tenths. 5 tenths. Right, this is 5 tenths. This is our tenths place value. 5 tenths. 1 tenth. It's going to be 1 over 10. 1 tenth. 9 tenths. 9 over tenths. This is easy. Cruising through this. So we have 23 hundredths. Hundredths. It's like beeping up my hundredths. 23 hundredths. So this is what I was saying. It has two place values here. 1, 2. We need to go and write 3 underneath it. 3 place values, because it's now moving into the hundredths. So we need to make sure we write 100 underneath it. It's giving you the anchor here as well, right? 23 hundredths, which is 23 over 100. 48 hundredths. Pretty straightforward so far. 66 hundredths. 73 hundredths. Just blocking out all of my... it's not picking it up at all. It's awesome. Hundredths. It's like my filter's blocking it. All right, 29 over 100. 29 hundredths. That's my camera's blocking that again. 29 hundredths. All right. Question K. 7 hundredths. 7 over 100. 2 over 100. 9. Interesting. 9 over 100. It's like they're trying to trick us. 1 over 100. Right, as simple as the hundredths place value, and then 4 over 100. Oh, no, we have to write it now. Okay. So this is good practice. So we want to make sure we are, again, looking at the place value. This is a tenth. 7 tenths. So we're going to write 7 over 10. It's a tenth, so we write it over a tenth. This is 8th. Sorry, 8 tenths. Not an 8th, but 8 tenths. 8 tenths. 8 over 10. Okay, now this one, R, is going back to the 2 place values. So we have our tenths and our hundredths. So this is 5 over 100. 5 hundredths. Seven tenths. 7 over 10. 7 tenths. Ooh, this one looks similar, but it's different. It's 7 hundredths. We see that there's 1 a tenth, 0 tenths, and 7 hundredths. So we need to make sure we get that correct. 2 tenths. 35 hundredths. 35 over 100. 4 over 100. 10th, 100th. And last two here. 8 tenths. 6 tenths. That's it. That's all she wrote. Not too difficult today. Repetition, practice makes perfect. I will see you in the next video. Keep tuning in. Throw a like onto the video. That would be super cool. Find us on Instagram. Find us on YouTube. GB Gaming. We're going to be making some content soon. And do your homework. Possibly the most important message. Take it easy. Remember to math it up.